learning to inspire. Loving is dope. Learning to grow and learning to hope. Let go of the past. Release the ropes.
Learning to love, yeah, yeah. Learning to love with Elam B love. Learning to love, yeah, yeah. Learning to love with Elam B love. Learning to love, yeah. Inspired by God, lifted in love, yeah. Learning to love, yeah, yeah. Motivated by self, lifted in love, yeah, yeah.
Welcome to Learning to Love. I'm your host, April B. Love. Today's topic is dating with intention. I know that's a loaded topic, but I have the perfect person here as a guest on the show, Elam B. King. Hi, Elam. How are you?
What's going on? How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Just elated to have you here on the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wonderful. So please introduce yourself to our viewers.
Okay. Well, first of all, I guess for yourself and the viewers, if I blink a little extra because I had my eyes dilated earlier, so I'm trying to bring my focus in. But thank you so much, first of all, April, for even having me on. I'm super excited to just be on your platform. So thank you so much for that. I'm looking forward to having a little fun today. Elam B. King, originally from New Jersey, went to school at Hampton University, got in this Georgia due to marriage. That's how I got down south, but I don't want to go back up north. And originally was in a sales for probably the majority of my life. And somewhere along the line, I tripped over a rock and bumped my head on this relationship coaching and counseling. And three-time author. And, I'm just super excited to just, be a part of people's lives to help improve them. And so I look forward to hopefully sharing something today that could help somebody.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Awesome. And so we are definitely going to just jump right into things. I know, oh my gosh, relationships, when we're talking about it, is just so much, right? That encompasses in that whole discussion. So definitely just taking a look at our communities, right? So we definitely need more healthy relationships in our communities, and we all know that, okay? So just tell us a bit about how, I know you briefly touched on it, but tell us a little bit more about how you really came about this journey of relationship coaching. What prompted this?
Like I said, I tripped over that rock and just, but I got married at a very young age at 26. All right. So, when your entire inner circle, minus maybe one or two people, are all single, right? And then you're the one that gets married and you had a promiscuous life prior to, and then when it's 5, 10, 15 plus years later, people start looking at you and saying, and asking you questions. So I've always been asked questions a lot about relationships over the past couple of years. Didn't even realize I was coaching people. I was just answering questions because they were like, Elam, how'd you put up with this? Man, and they sitting on one kid. I'm sitting over here, blended family of 6. You telling me about your one kid. I'm looking like, dude, you know what I'm saying? Come on now. You can get through. And this is how you can easily get through. Boom, boom, boom. And along the journey, I have one of my best friends on this planet, Adrian E. Bell. After some hiccups, I would say, within my marriage and us rebuilding it, she said to me one day, she said, you need to write a book. Back in like 2014, 15, she said, you need to write a book. And I was just like, I don't even like English. Like, what are you talking about? I don't want to write no book. And so I, just moved forward. God just moved in certain spaces or whatever. A book coach landed in my lap. At my very first, I think my first, what we call it? Relationship conference. Yeah. The first one that I went to, I was supposed to just be on the panel and, and just answer questions. So for 1 hour, we answer questions for the women they asked, okay, what do women need to know about men or whatever. And it was called Understanding the Mind of a Man. And so from there, when we were finished, I looked around the room and the ladies, it was like the average age was like 45 in the room. And so they were looking to get asked, they wanted to ask more questions, and they were like, no, we have to move on in the segment. And I looked around the room that day and I said, women really don't understand the way men think. So, and then that moved into my first book, Understanding a Man. So, empowering women with tools for lasting relationships. And then that turned into another book, When the Soul Cries, which we released last year. That was a anthology with 5 other men. And then also along the way, I did a pre-marriage course that I released May of last year. I've been doing, virtual counseling for about 5+ years now. So things just keep like happening. So I don't know how, but it just keeps happening.
Divine purpose. Okay. They happen when they're supposed to.
Right. Absolutely. So, I mean, and it's the most exciting thing I have ever done. And that's why I'm a big proponent. You always hear me talk about purpose. I talk about that, in my latest book, when I'm talking to the young men, memoirs from a father to his son. So, if I had figured that one word out, purpose, when I was a teenager, where I would have like 2 planes right now, like I'd have a whole island called Elam, because I would have figured some stuff out a lot sooner. So, but it's okay. That's why I'm out here to share it with others now.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And that is awesome. So now describe the term or act of dating with intention.
Okay, so I also, these are unshameless plugs, by the way, but in my upcoming book, Memoirs from a Father to His Son, I actually have a chapter where I'm talking about dating. And dating has 2 factors of it, but particularly, and I would say for men, but I would say for men and women as well. But men, from a leadership perspective, I really am talking to the young men and saying, hey, the first part of dating is understanding why you're dating. Are you dating for just entertainment, to just, collect some data? You know what I'm saying? Or are you dating with intention, meaning you're collecting data, you're making decisions? And so the first one you can do regardless, right? Whether you're 15 or 50, you can just date to go hang out, go grab a drink, go get something to eat. That's fine, right? But when you're dating with intention, meaning that you're looking to be in a committed relationship at which to lead to marriage, right? When you're looking to do that, the first part of that is not to find the right person. The first part of that is to find the right person. It's to find who you are first. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So we're not looking for a person out there. We're looking for this person first, right? And so finding that purpose and understanding what your purpose is, how you're loved, understanding your spirituality. Where do you want to, be in life the next 1, 3, 5, and 10 years? What's your vision, right? Who are you, right? Do you understand your background? Do you understand, your generational curses? Do you understand you? Now, once you have that data, right, you then begin to, go out, date, go through the motions of dating someone, right? And as you're doing that, you're bouncing who they are up against who you know. Mm-hmm. And you're able to make a decision whether this person is compatible. So I'm now not going to make the decision to be with you, even though teeth are nice, or maybe you're the heir to the throne. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to know over here that this is not going to work, because this is not what I have inside me is not going to mesh with you. You could be an amazing person, but you are somebody else's blessing, and I am too. So that's where people kind of get, they run into roadblocks inside of dating. Just like, I just can't seem to find the right person. And 9 times out of 10, they're not even the right person. They're not even the best version of themselves. So you're not right. You're not the right person, and you're attracting the wrong people. Well, that makes sense. It's called the law of attraction. So, that's why I try to share with people. It's not even about, a lot of times, where do you have to go? You got to put yourself out there, right? If your blessing is divinely put together, you could be in the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? You could be at the gas station. You don't have to be at a lounge. You don't have to be in church. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, yeah, I can go on with dating with intention, but that's my elevator version, I guess.
I know. I love it. I love it. And that's so true. I just recently had that conversation with someone. It's just like, you have to work on being the best version of yourself. And you can't specifically set out to go out and meet someone. Typically, if that's what you're doing on a daily or a weekend. Most people do that on the weekends, right? And we're in Atlanta. Come on, we just have to, be honest about that, right? We're in Atlanta. But, that's not necessarily where you're going to meet them, So how does, as a man, right? So how does knowing your worth really help in that aspect? So, just knowing your worth in general?
Well, just to lean back on what I just said a moment ago regarding, but I just want to expand on that a little bit. You know, knowing yourself, you're going to know what direction you're going in, right? And so let me back this up. You from the importance of understanding the value of who you are is I can't even think of a word of how huge it is, because it dictates so many different facets of your life, not just a relationship with somebody else. It dictates about your health, right? So because guess what? If you go off into this life and do exactly what you were not designed to do, you're going to stress your body out. You know what I'm saying? Disease, 80% of the people in the hospital right now are there because of stress. Okay, so you got that. You got, first of all, you got the longevity of your life is connected to the value that you put on yourself and understanding purpose and what your worth is, right? And then you have relationships. Before we again get to relationships with inside of organizations, with people, with socializing, friends, inner circle, it affects that understanding. Okay, these group of people are the right people for me to be around. Or it might help you to save your life by saying, you know what, I have a higher value of myself. I'm not going to be in this company of people. Right. You see what I'm saying? So that's why it's very key for our, any age we could say, but we always talk about our young folk hanging around the wrong person, blah, blah, blah. So teaching them as early as possible to find that worth and know who you are will make them say, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go with that crowd. Because as you and I both know, that has a lot to do with the outcomes of a lot of people, right? Your inner circle. So then, your relationship, understanding your worth is, your relationship with God is completely different when you understand your worth, because you know that even if you have fallen, that you're good enough to get back up because your Heavenly Father has already forgiven you for what's happened. Right. So if you know that I'm going to trip and fall, if you know that this is you're going to be sent, issues and transgressions, they're sent to you. So when they're sent to you, you'll know that they're coming and that it's to teach you something that might prevent you from taking your life, right? There are people who commit suicide because they're like, oh my gosh, it's never going to get any better. And stuff is always happening to me, not knowing that you were 3 feet from gold, not knowing that your blessing was right around the corner. That's why it was really tough where you were, because right before you get that blessing, it's extremely tough. And us grown, if you know the word and if you just watch how your life go, that's how it is. It's when it's really tough and right around that corner, boom. Is your blessing. So it can help you to stay alive. And then last but not least, of course, from a relationship with somebody else's perspective, again, that this is the right person. You'll know that this person can add to your value, right? We walk inside of relationships and we say things like, this person didn't make me happy. It is not another person's responsibility to make you happy. That's your job. So that's why I want to hear people say, we broke up because, I just wasn't happy. He didn't make me happy. She didn't make me happy. I'd be like, okay, so talk to me at the end of your next relationship, because sounds like you don't know that you should have found your own happy. Right. So, and then that other person understanding that they need to be a complement to that happy. They can compliment, but they can't make you happy. They can only compliment what you've created inside of yourself. So, then you have that portion where you're making the right decisions to move forward. So having value goes far beyond even just the relationship part. You're talking about your life. This is what this is connected to. So I learned it a little late, but I'm just going to make sure that other people know as soon as possible.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And it really, many people feel like, this person is going to make me happy, and they really have to get a grasp on, you really have to find that peace within yourself. You need to be healed first and foremost. Yes. Healing is very important, and many of us just really need to go back to our childhood and dissect everything. Dissect everything. Therapy is so important. I talk about it all the time on the show. Therapy is so important because if we are, if we are feeding ourselves, physical, we're eating, we're feeding ourselves food, we're spiritually feeding ourselves and things of that nature. We want to be healthy. So we get our physicals, we go to the doctor. So why not your mind? If your mind is controlling everything, why not feed your mind? Why not heal your mind? So if we cut ourselves, we want to, whatever your remedy is, you put your peroxide on it, and
come on, peroxide.
You put whatever. I'm from the country, honey. So
I was gonna say
you gotta clean it. Don't give me no Band-Aid. I gotta clean that one.
Right.
Put that on there. We put some alcohol. Whatever.
Days.
Yeah, we have to heal it. We have to heal it. I keep that on hand. You got to keep it because it heals quicker. But anyway, that's a story for another day. But
So
but yeah,
funny.
so we do all these things if we just have a simple wound, right? So
Yes.
why not heal our mind? So we have so many layers. Each of us, no one is exempt. That has so many layers. Maybe you had great parents. Maybe everything in the home was great, but how were you treated at school amongst your peers?
Right.
How did the teachers treat? So we are dealing with so much. And so with that being said, with men, let's talk about this now in our communities in reference to African American communities. Let's talk about just tell me your thoughts about how men are raised in most cases, in reference to their value and in healing and being taught who they are and things of that nature.
You got an hour? Because it's gonna be real hard to squish this down, but I'm gonna try to squish this down because, and also, I mean, basically, you're speaking to the topics that I talk about in this book, and so, and just to give an overview of it, so people could maybe understand why I'm even talking about it. My Understanding a Man: Memoirs from a Father to a Son was released. What I did was, see, during the pandemic, some folks was just like, woe is me, what I'm going to do. I was taking my talent and using that as having something to do on a daily basis. While I couldn't go out, I dove into this book. And so what I did was I interviewed 24 men about various topics of the heart that if they had to speak to their younger selves, what would they say? We all say it all the time. I'm sure you do. Yo, peoples, I don't care if you're around men, women, whatever, right? If we knew then.
Well, we know now.
Okay, I was gonna say you're supposed to finish it. Okay, yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? If I knew then what I know now, if I knew it, I would boom, boom, boom. I would have done boom, boom. But and so I wanted to take that information because my wife was a teacher in high school, so she's for like the past 14 years. Okay. Excuse me, since 2014. I'm sorry. And so in a high school, so I got insight and just high schoolers period and what they need, right? So, and what from lunches to just the education and everything, right? And I'm also a member of Kappa Alpha Psi, so I've been involved in our community portions, which is our Guide Right program. So that's been like a bigger portion over the past, I'd say, at least for about 4 or 5 years, I was real strong. Then I kind of dipped off a little bit, okay. So, but I had insight into with the Stone Mountain Lithonia chapter here in Atlanta. I had a chance to have insight also into some of the things that they needed. So it's like I took that and I was just like, man, what if somebody just wrote a book and gave some of these nuggets back down? Who could I touch? And so one time I went to the classroom, I went to, they have like what's that special day when they have people come out and speak inside the classroom? Yeah, and I spoke. And the kids were looking at me like, holy cow. They were like, and Obama was in office then. And one of the kids told her afterwards, it was just like, yo, he's amazing. It was like, you see people like Obama, but you can't touch him. But that's somebody who we can touch and I can actually relate to him. And I was like, wow, I can inspire young men. So that kind of pushed me into, understanding that we are raised from a subculture perspective. We're raised to not cry. Don't act like a girl. Don't be sensitive. Don't be emotional, right? Got to be forward tough, right? Nobody cares about the way you feel, right? Now make you a black man, okay? You're now sitting at the bottom of the totem pole and nobody wants to hear you, right? So we were raised in this, right? So already we were used to it. It's like a fish in water. Like this is just the way we live, right? And so, but then one day I meet you, April. Right. And you make me love you. Right. I fall for you. Right. And so now I don't understand my emotions. Right. Mm-hmm. If I'm dating you, I don't understand the way I feel because I've been taught to suppress this. So now here you were raised the complete opposite. Estrogen actually is the hormone, obviously, that's more prevalent inside of a woman. But estrogen actually is a part of the reason why your communication levels are so high. Right. Women do 20,000 words a day. Men do 5,000. So I'm used to not really sharing. And now you come along. Now you want me to share. Now you're offended that I'm not sharing because you're using your brain that you were raised with to communicate. And I was raised to not do that. Right. So we have this subculture that now exists. That steamrolls into when we're dating, we're not remaining in counsel, to your point earlier, right? We're not talking to anybody, because if I talk to somebody, that means I'm less than a man, because a man figures his problems out by himself. He doesn't go and talk to nobody, because if you go talk to somebody, you must be weak. And if you're weak, then you're not a man. So I'm taught to not go talk to somebody. I don't know what to do. And I'm taught to not go talk to somebody, which turns into stress, which turns into anger. You know, a lot of times when men get angry, and in those moments from an intimate perspective, because he doesn't understand his feelings. But he's still feeling them. He doesn't understand them. And we get angry that we feel, because we were taught to not feel. Right. So this subculture that has existed amongst us, that's something I passed right into on this book by just letting young men know about their emotions. And you know, I go one particular chapter 5, I talk about 9 different hormones that affect you as a man. Testosterone, prolactin, you know, I mean, MIS. I mean, these are real hormones. Androstenedione. You know, the reason why our aggression is the way it is, it's hormonally driven. You know, men not being in counsel, we got to change that, you know, and that I want to do my part in doing that, not only by talking about it, but by being in as well. So, you know, that's, if we start doing that, we're able to have a barometer, right? And kind of look out and say, okay, this forecast this, and kind of see some things and be able to make better decisions. It says a wise man remains in counsel. That's for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. So we'll be right back after this short break. So stay tuned.
First part of that is not to find the right person. The first part of that is to find the right person. It's to find who you are first.
Thank you so much for staying tuned in. Again, this is the Learning to Love show. I'm your host, April B. Love. I do have Elam B. King here on the show, and we're talking about dating with intention. In fact, we're talking about much more than that. So, yeah, we're going to just pick right back up where we started. And so, Elam, I know, again, wow, you've really poured so much into the viewers, into our audience today. So tell me, why do you feel, and based on your research and things of that nature and just working with different groups, why do you feel that women are failing? Some women, I don't say women in general, but some African American women are failing in romantic relationships.
You got like 5 hours? Because no, I honestly, it's not like a whole bunch of different bullet points, right? It's just like 1 or 2 or 3 things. And I'm going to say the first thing, and this is for men and women, but I'm going to say for women, and the second reason why it kind of hurts that they don't know themselves. Some women do not know themselves when it comes to matters of the heart. Now, you're talking about African American women, the dopest, the number one demographic from a college graduate perspective, right? So they're really great from a from an education perspective. You're number one. You're beating white men. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? In education, which is interesting, right? So let alone us, right? So that skill set, because that skill set is dope. Right? Because you got the black girl power, y'all are shaking, moving. Because that skill set is there, you think that skill set goes over here with relationships. So because you so smart, you think you're supposed to be smart over here. We have to start there, right? Of a lack of understanding of yourself. And the second reason why, which bangs the first reason, is because there's a lack of accountability in relationships, period. Okay. They are not accountable. Right. And why is that? Now we know we're accountable because we know we have to do something to what? Get what? With you. You don't have women really say, I'm about to get with this. You know what I'm saying? Like they want to be got with. Right. So in order for, so we're the hunters. So we're out here trying, even though we might figure out the wrong things at times, we're trying to figure things out because you remember, you were said, you are the prize, you are the queen. So you're the person that people come after. So the reason why you stand still, because you're waiting for somebody to what? I'm gonna find me like the man to come to you, marry you, right? Pluck you out, right? So you're standing still from an intimate relationship perspective because because he needs to improve to come to you. You stand still with who you are, right? So if you don't know yourself, right, you don't even know that you don't know of the way your voice tone is. You don't even know, of how, your lack of ability of care and sensitivity is really, higher than what this man, you don't understand. You don't even know your love language. You don't even know your apology language, right? You don't even, you see what I'm saying? You don't even know what your non-negotiables are, right? You attach yourself. And so because if you don't have your direction of who you are emotionally, right, you will attach yourself to the man's expectations. That's why you start talking, whatever, and you're thinking y'all are gonna get together, and all of a sudden he's like, nah. And you're like, well, how could you not? We've been together for 4 months, and so I'm thinking that we're gonna be committed. He's kind of like, well, nah, I was just chilling. Now you mad. You should have figured that out 3 months ago, right? But you didn't walk in with your expectation and then speak about it, right? You inferred, you thought that just because y'all was kicking it, that y'all was really like committed, and you're not, right? So you're not walking in with those expectations. So not understanding yourself, and you have the lack of accountability, right? And then you're not in counsel either, right? And then you're counseling with the wrong people, even when you do counsel, right? You counseling with your other single friends, right? Like that doesn't even, now, can a single person get, if this is their talent to, counsel, coach, stuff like that? Yeah, that person, but that you don't even talk to that one. You talk to the ignorant ones that are just like you. So everybody's just passing their ignorance around, and that's why y'all stay single. You fine, so you can get somebody. Oh yeah, get them. You don't have a problem with getting them. It's keeping them is where you have a problem.
Wow, loaded question. So listen to all of our viewers, okay? Stay tuned in for next week's episode. We are going to delve a bit more into this. All right, guys. Again, this is the April B. Love Show. Thanks for tuning in. And please join me every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Preach the Word Worldwide Network TV. And if you'd like to be a guest, or if you know someone that has a lot to pour into the audience, tell them to get at me. So visit aprilblove.com. Again, that is aprilblove.com. And I'll see you next week.
Motivated by self.